Hi and welcome to my channel. So today we're gonna do things a little bit different. You're come with me to cook. I'm making some lunch and I just wanted to share a message that God gave me yesterday. God is so random and he's so funny. I was sweeping yesterday and as I was sweeping, God was just talking to me. 2 days ago, well now 3 days ago, I actually cried. And I was crying to God because I had a dream. And in my dream, it was a dream of me in a relationship. And I woke up and I felt really good. I wasn't sad or anything. But then during the day, throughout the day, I started getting sad because I was telling God, like, I really miss that feeling of dating somebody, of getting to know somebody and being pursued and just having that feeling of, oh, like I want to text this person. I haven't had that feeling in years. And I was just telling God how I'm scared that because I am close to him now and I he saved me and now I believe in God and I'm trying to be obedient to him and wait for my spouse that he created for me. I told him that I'm actually scared that my desire of feeling that way is going to be greater than my faith in him and my obedience in God, and that I will just go and try to date and find somebody on my own, and I know that that's gonna fail. So I was telling God that was about 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and then yesterday as I was sweeping and mopping the house, he started giving me a revelation and he started telling me how right now I'm not really in my season of waiting. There's not really a season of waiting. It's a season of preparation. And I really think that I am in my Esther season right now because he is just preparing me. And he started giving me examples of what a good parent does with their child. And he was telling me how when somebody wants something, if my child came to me and he told me, Mommy, I want to build a puzzle. If I don't have a puzzle, then I'm going to go and buy it for him and then I'm going to give it to him. And I'm either going to build it with him or I'm going to let him build it. But I'm not going to build a puzzle for him because he's the one that wants to do that. He's the one that asked for that. What I did is I provided him with the tool for him to build that puzzle. I did my job and now it's up to him if he wants to build it or not. He gave me that example. He also gave me another example of, let's say for instance, there is a person and let's say me, right? Let's say I want a new car, but the new car costs $30,000 and I don't have the $30,000, but I ask for it and I'm just praying and I'm like, I want a car. I want a new car. I want this car. Somebody comes to me and they give me $30,000 and they tell me, here you go, here's the $30,000. All you have to do is go to the dealership, pick out the car that you like, test drive the car, sign the documents and pay for the car, and then you have the car. The car is yours. And because I don't want to take the steps, I want the car to just magically appear in my driveway and I don't want to take the steps. Like are you kidding me? I have to go and do all these steps so I can have my car? No. So sometimes we forget that when we're praying for something because we're so focused on the outcome, we don't really pay attention to what God is equipping us with, what tools he's giving us in order to thrive. And if God, think about it, if God just gave us what we want right away, like this, would we be successful? Would we really know how to properly move forward with our blessing if God just gave it to us, regardless if we're ready or not? I know that for me, If I pray for something and I'm not ready for it, I don't want God to give it to me, because then I'm not going to be prepared. I'm not going to know how to be successful. Like I told him, I'm waiting for my spouse, but I do want to be obedient. I want that love that represents God. I want the love that comes from God, because God has already shown his love to me and his faithfulness, his provision, his protection, that I don't want anything less. So my standards now are pretty high, because God has shown me that. God has revealed himself to me in ways that I don't even know if a man out there can, fulfill those standards for me. But I'm pretty sure that the right man that God creates for me is gonna fulfill those standards. Another example that God was giving me was my brother. There's times where I mainly cook, and there's times where I don't feel like cooking because I'm tired, and my brother will ask me if I can cook something for him, and I'll tell him no, because right now I'm really tired and I don't feel like cooking today. And my brother would rather starve than to cook a meal for himself. He'll wait for my mom to get home from work before he even decides to make a meal. We can have whatever ingredients we need in the fridge. We can have everything that he needs for him to make a meal, but he doesn't want to take the steps. He just wants the meal to be ready for him. He doesn't want to take the steps in cooking a meal. And think about it. When you work for something, you appreciate it more. I know that when I cook my own food, when I eat it, I actually enjoy it more than if I go out and spend money on a meal, because I know what ingredients I'm using. I know that I'm cooking with love, because cooking is one thing that I really enjoy doing for the people that I love. I know that it's going to be nutritious. Like, I know what effort I put into a meal, so when I eat it, I actually enjoy it more than if I didn't cook it myself. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you who also have met people who were handed everything in their lives. And when adversity hits, when problems hit, they don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to navigate it, and they crumble because they were handed everything to them. So that's a disservice. And God, as our Father, he's not going to do that disservice to us. He's not just going to give us what we pray for if we're not ready, because God is a God of love. God wants us to succeed, and God wants us to have our desires, those desires that he has planted in us, because he created us for a purpose. Another thing that we have to remember is that we were created with a destiny. We have a destiny to fulfill. And when the right person comes into our lives, when the right husband or the right wife come into your life, they're going to be able to help us to fulfill that destiny that God has for you. Let's take the example of Ruth and Boaz. Ruth, because she was with Boaz, they were able to be in Jesus's lineage, right? They were able to, she's, I guess, a descendant of Jesus. So she had a destiny, she had a purpose, and because she met Boaz, she was able to fulfill that destiny. Let's think about Queen Esther. When she got married to her king, she went through a year of preparation. She went 6 months of, I think, oils, bathing herself in oils, and then 6 months of perfumes. And then she was able to be in the presence of the king. She had a destiny, and because she got married to the king and became queen, she was able to save her people, because that was her destiny. But because she married the husband that God had for her, he helped her fulfill that destiny when it was time for her to save her people. So you gotta remember that if you're in a season of waiting, you're not really in a season of waiting, you're in a season of preparation. And it's up to you how long you're gonna take in this preparation. If you are just focused on the outcome, you're just focused on the fact that right now you don't have your spouse, and that's all you're focused on, then you're delaying your blessing. Start shifting the way you think. God is not delaying something. God is not keeping good things from you. He is trying to prepare you because you are not ready. If you were ready, you would have it. So if you're wondering, God, am I ready? You're not. When you're ready, you won't have to pray. You won't have to worry. You won't have to ask God, God, am I ready? Because the moment that you are ready, you're going to get your prayers answered. But if you're still praying, if you're still finding yourself praying and praying and praying, start shifting the way you're thinking and start paying attention to what God is doing in your life right now. Start paying attention to what is it that is changing in you. Because remember, just like you're praying for your spouse is most likely praying for you. And if you start finding things about yourself that are changing, I know that for me, a big thing that changed is that I no longer go to the gym to have a nice body, to have a desirable body. Now I go to the gym because I want to be healthy. So my priority is no longer, growing my glutes or having the smallest waist. My priority now is I want to be healthy, and I want to have the body that when God made me, I want to have that body. I don't care about meeting the expectations. I don't care about being beautiful in this generation. What I care about is how can I be healthy, because this is the body that God gave me. And it's easy for us to overlook and to dismiss what we have until we don't have it. For me, my eyesight is getting worse. I wear glasses so that I can see from afar. And when I put my glasses on, it just makes me realize how we take things for granted. Because when I put my glasses on and I'm like, wow, this is how people normally see without glasses, and I need glasses in order to be able to see clearly. And it just makes me realize how I take a lot of things for granted. And I used to take my body for granted. After I had my son, I struggled with loving myself and loving my body. My body changed, and my body's never gonna go back to how it was prior to having my son. First of all, because I have stretch marks now, and because your body changes after you have a child, and that is okay. But I was taking my body for granted, and every time I would look in the mirror, I wouldn't be happy with what I was seeing, but I wasn't doing anything to change that. Even though God gave me the means and the financial provision for me to go and get a gym membership, and I would go maybe once a month, and then I would call it a day, and then I still would look at the mirror and criticize myself. But now, like I said, my body, this is the body that God gave me, and I want to grow old and be healthy. I don't want to grow old and wish that I had taken care of myself. I don't want years to pass and for me to say, oh, I could have been better if had I started years ago. So God is really transforming the way that I think, the way that I see life, the way that I communicate with others. Also, God, like I said, He convicted me when I was going to the gym for other people. But now I go to the gym because this is the body that God gave me. So I'm gonna make sure that I take care of this body. Another thing that He started changing in me is cooking. I used to cook maybe once in a while, but now I cook almost every single day. And that's because I want to make sure that what I'm eating, what my son is eating, that I know what we're eating, that I know that I'm giving us the best possible foods, the most nutritious foods. Because like I said, I appreciate our bodies now because this is the body that God gave me, and I need to take care of it. Things like putting away certain things. If it takes me a minute to put away something, I'm going to do it. Whereas before, I would say, oh, I'll just do it later, or I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow would come, and because I didn't put it away yesterday, now that's another thing that I have to do. That's another thing that accumulated. And those are things that God convicted me in, and I started changing. And I wonder, am I changing these things because I believe in God and I'm walking with God now, and I'm trying to do everything in my life to glorify him? Or is this how my husband is? Is my husband somebody who doesn't really appreciate somebody who is messy? Is my husband somebody who likes a cooked meal every single day? Is my husband somebody who is clean? Is my husband somebody who goes to the gym constantly? Like, am I changing? And yes, the answer is yes. Not only am I changing because God is convicting me from the things that I was doing wrong, but also just like I'm praying for my husband, and just like I have certain desires that I want in my husband and certain needs that I want in my husband, and I'm pretty sure God is transforming him to be the husband that I need. God is also transforming me so that I can be the wife that my husband needs and wants, so that when we come into unison, we can both be successful. And God is preparing us. So whether he's preparing me, him, or both right now, God is doing his thing, and he's not going to bring me my husband if I'm not ready for him. There's still a lot of work that I need. There is still a lot that I need to work on, and I know that I am not ready. And the reason I know it's because I can see it in my life. And every day that goes by, there's something new that God reveals to me, and something new that I need to change. For example, right now I was in my room, and my room is a mess because I haven't cleaned it in a couple of days. My room is we only use it to sleep. So there's no TV or anything in there. I only use it at night to sleep. And because of that, it's the room that I neglect the most. I clean the rest of the house because my son and I, we spend a lot of our time either in the kitchen, in the living room, or outside with the dogs. So my room is that one room that I don't really pay attention to. Like, I just neglect it. And right now when I was in there, I was getting irritated because of how messy it is. And you know, when you go into a messy room, it changes your mood. And for me, it was changing my mood. And God was talking to me, and he was telling me, this is not okay. If you don't like it, if it's making you feel irritated, just clean it. Why haven't you cleaned it? You've had plenty of time to clean it. And I have had a lot of time to clean it. My son goes to school, I can clean it then, but I just choose not to, because like I said, it's not a room that I really use. And I usually say, oh, well, I clean my room once a week and that's it. But no, that's something that God convicted me of today, because my room, although it's a room that we don't really go to, but because of that, I don't really clean it. So it gets dirty really easily. I will clean it right now, and then by the end of the night, it's gonna be messy. So it's something that I need to start pushing myself to clean every single day, just like I clean the house every single day. It's now my room is something that I need to start cleaning every single day. So it's little things like that that God is changing in me. He's just transforming me. My school, I know that school is something that God wants for me, because he is just opening so many doors for me that I'm just like amazed. And I know that it's something that he wants me to do. So right now I'm in the process of making myself be a good student, because I don't have another option. I'm 29 years old and I have a 3-year-old son who I need to provide for. Failure is not an option for me right now. So I need to really lock in and do what I need to do in order to be successful in school. And that's only going to happen if I put in the work. So it's not that hard. When you have a desire and you pray to God, and you start seeing that God is working in your life right away, it's because it's gonna happen. It just depends on you. How badly do you want it? Is this something that you really want, or is this something that you wish that God would just hand to you? But if He's not giving it to you right away. It's because you have to put in the work. He's going to provide you with the tools, and he might even work with you, but he's not going to do it for you. You have to put in the work. If you want to go back to school and God is giving you all these opportunities for you to go back to school, all you have to do is pay attention, go to class, study, do your homework, take quizzes, then do it. It's not that hard. If you want a spouse and you're constantly praying for your spouse and you're constantly telling yourself, well, all my friends are already married, I'm hitting my 30s. Remember, your timing is not God's timing. God is not in a hurry. He is not in a rush. And just because you are desperate doesn't mean that God is going to give it to you faster. God is going to give it to you when you are ready, because he knows that it's going to be a gift that you are not going to take for granted. So he needs to prepare you. And if you can be faithful, just like he can be faithful to you, if you can be faithful and put your faith in him and tell him, God, I trust you, I'm gonna put in the work. And when it comes to you, you're gonna realize why you had to prepare yourself first. There's gonna be trials and tribulations that you're gonna have to go through with your spouse. And if you're not prepared right now to go through those trials and tribulations, the relationship is not going to work. I'm gonna give you an example, and I'm gonna get very personal with you. When I met the father of my son, I thought that he was the one. I let my guard down and we had our son right away. It was very quick, it was very fast. But both of us didn't know God. At the time, I was spiritual and I was just getting into witchcraft and everything. So I was really far away from God. And he didn't believe in God. And because of that, we failed miserably. Like, we failed so bad. Even though he's not a bad person and I'm not a bad person, we brought the ugly out in us because we didn't know how to navigate trials and tribulations when they came into our lives. We didn't know how to put our faith in something. We were just lost, and because we rushed into something, we failed. And now that we're not together, we realized that we are not horrible people. He is not a horrible man. I'm not a horrible woman. It's just, if we're meant to be, we will be together on God's timing. But if we're not meant to be, we both know. I know his good qualities, and I know him at his best, just like I know him at his worst. And the same with him. And we can appreciate each other, and we are better off now that we're not together. Because I know I am in my journey with God. He is in his journey. I don't know what he's doing, but we know that now that we're not together, we realize that we are not horrible people. We were just with the wrong person, and the wrong person will do that to you. The wrong person will bring out the worst in you. And if you are in a relationship and you find yourself being if you find that you don't like who you are, if you find out that your partner keeps telling you like you're a horrible person, he wouldn't tell me that, I wouldn't tell him that, but I'm saying, like, if you find yourself not being yourself and just the ugly side of you comes out, you are in the wrong relationship. Just know that you are in the wrong relationship. And thanks to the glory of God, he didn't allow us to stay together, and God actually forced us to break up, because if it was up to us, we would probably still be together. And I don't know how the relationship would be right now, but I can tell you one thing: God separated us. Like, God did everything he needed to do for us to separate, because if God wouldn't have intervened, like I said, we would probably still be together in a very toxic relationship. But because God intervened and we had no other option but to break up, now we're both in a much better place, and we both get along much better, and we are really good co-parents. And our son gets to see that. Even though his mom and dad are not together in a romantic relationship, we are together as his parents. And I think that it's the best to do that. It is the best. And like I said, I don't know what the future holds for the both of us. all I know is that God is really working in me, and He really is showing me that right now I am in a season of preparation. And I thought I was in a season of waiting, but your season of waiting is your season of preparation, right? So that's the thing that God revealed to me yesterday as I was mopping. And like I said, God is just so funny, because sometimes I used to think that God would only talk to us, if we're in prayer or something. But no, God really has a way to just communicate with us in a loving way. And like I said, yesterday I was cleaning my house, and I cleaned my house to glorify God. So just hearing from Him while I'm cleaning is just an amazing feeling, to know that He's in constant communication with me, and I don't have to go to prayer in order to hear from Him. So that's something that I wanted to share with you, and give you guys some examples, and just let you know that if you feel like you're in your season of waiting, and you feel like God is delaying this from you, it's probably because you are in a season of preparation. So just ask God to reveal to you, what is it that you need to prepare? What is it that you need to let go of? What is it that you need to start shifting in your life? And He will answer you. He will tell you. Like I said, for me, I tell Him, just dig in the deepest, darkest place of my heart and reveal to me what it is that I need to release. What is it that's in the darkness that needs to come to light? And He's been doing that for me. And like I said, 3 days ago, I was crying to Him, telling Him that I was afraid that I was going to take things into my own matter, into my own hands, and just go and start dating again, because I missed that because of a dream that I had. And God answered me yesterday, and He told me, no, you still have to be patient. I'm still preparing you. So yeah, if you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. And I know that it's a different setting, but I need to cook before I pick up my son from school. So thank you so much for watching.